If you're relocating to Maryland in 2023 or 2024, you're probably considering renting versus buying. And if that's you, then this video is the perfect video for you. I'm going to go over the difference between the two and which one would be more appropriate for you. So let's just jump right in. Hey everyone, my name's Eddie Brady and I'm a realtor here in Maryland, and I make videos like this every single week about what it's like to live in Maryland and the best places to live. So if this is your first time visiting the channel, thank you for being here. Hit that subscribe button so that you stay up to date on all of my upcoming videos. And if you are needing help with relocating to Maryland after this video, just click the link in my description or in the caption. Both of them will take you to set up a call with me and I'll be happy to get a plan together for you. Now, I get this question really frequently, which is, should I buy or should I rent in this market? And I get it most often from the people that follow me on YouTube and subscribe to me on YouTube. And it makes sense. If you're moving to a new state, you really want to know, is it even worth it to buy there? And that's what I'm going to cover in this video, because for some people, it makes a lot of sense to buy. And for some people, it makes no sense to buy and you're better off renting. So I'm going to go over those situations, those different reasons that you should buy versus rent, so you can make the right decision when it comes time to move here. And if you haven't been tracking the real estate market in Maryland, we have the same story as a lot of markets around the country, which is very low inventory, which means few active houses for sale on the market. And this is breaking away from seasonal trends. We have plummeting new active listing numbers that are totally different from last year and the year before. Usually we follow these seasonal trends where, it ebbs and flows. And this year specifically, we've just seen those numbers plummet for active inventory and new listings, which is putting us in a way different situation than 2020, 2021, and 2022. We've also seen mortgage rates stubbornly hold at 6 to 7% or over 7%, which is really slowing down the buyer demand. And the only reason that demand still seems high is because inventory is so low. So there's a few very determined buyers still out there that want to get into homes, which is keeping that demand high enough that homes are not staying on the market very long. But those interest rates are really keeping a majority of people out of the market. And all of this matters to you if you're considering whether or not to buy or rent right now, because you might be worried about whether or not you can even afford a home right now, or if you do buy a home, if you'll make money on the home. After all, no one buys a home expecting the value of the home to go down over time. We all buy a home hoping it'll be a long-term, safe investment where we can make some money after we sell it in the future. So I think we should go over examples of what it's like to own versus rent, and I'm going to use a new construction home as an example right here in Frederick, Maryland. This is a new construction townhome in Frederick, Maryland that's listed at, let's say, $495,000 to make it easy. And let's say you have to put 5% down on a conventional loan to purchase this property at a 7.1% interest rate, 7.18, excuse me, which is the current market rate at the time of this video. And that would put you at a monthly payment of just under $4,300. And the interesting thing about the market right now is that this same home, brand new, would rent for $3,200 a month in this same area of Frederick, which is an $1,100 difference in how much you're spending out of your pocket every single month, let alone if you buy the property, you're going to come up with at minimum the $25,000 in down payment to purchase the property. So why would someone choose to buy versus rent if it looks like it's way cheaper to rent? Well, it all comes down to whether or not you want control of your space, what your long-term goals are, and how long you plan on staying in the property itself. If you plan on staying in this next home for 3 years or less, I do not think that you should be buying right now. I know that sounds weird coming from a realtor to tell you don't buy a home because it doesn't help me. I get it. But it's just not a smart decision for you to buy a home with a short-term mindset in this market especially. And if you're going to be renting, it's going to be $1,100 a month cheaper to rent, and you just wouldn't make up that difference in 3 years' time, especially with your closing costs on top of it. I just don't see you making any money, and you actually run the risk of losing money when you go to sell the home in 3 years. So I do think you should be renting if you plan on being in Maryland or in this home for 3 years or less. But what if you plan on staying in a home for 3 to 5 years? Well, I think this is a gray area, and the reason is, depending on the house, you could lose money or you could make money. In a new construction home like the example that I just gave you, I do not think you would make much money even in 5 years, because you're paying top dollar for a new construction home because it's brand new. Whereas if you're buying a resale home that you can add value to through renovations or upgrades, I think you have a much better chance at making money on your investment, unless some kind of other incident happens like the pandemic where values just skyrocket, but I just don't see that happening again in the near future. So I think the safer bet is if you're going to be here for 3 to 5 years, don't expect to make money on a new construction home. But if you are going to buy resale, get with your realtor and talk about the upgrades that you plan on doing so you know if it's possible and if there's room in that neighborhood to even make the money that you're thinking of. Now, if you do plan on staying in this next home in Maryland for 5 years or more, I do think that in almost every case, you should buy the home, and here's why. Let's take that same new construction example where you have a $4,300 monthly payment at 7.18% interest on it, and let's assume that in the next few years that the interest rate drops to just 5%. That would change your monthly payment to $3,600. Now let's remember, rent for this area is $3,200 a month. So now we've brought that difference down from $1,100 to just $400. And not only that, rent almost never stays the same every year. So you can expect a rent increase every single year, which is going to shorten that gap even more. And in this area, you can expect anywhere from a $50 to $100 rent increase every single year. So in just a few years, that gap will be fully closed with your new rate versus that rental amount. And there's more to this that makes it a much better decision to buy. And that's the appreciation that you're going to get in owning a home. You don't get to enjoy any of that if you're renting the property. You're helping your landlord enjoy his appreciation or her appreciation in their property. But you get none of that as a renter. But if you own the home, a modest appreciation in Maryland is 3%, and a lot of years we average 5% appreciation. Nothing like the pandemic where we're at 17% or 20%, but 3 to 5% is a very likely number for appreciation here in Maryland. So if you're looking at those numbers, renting versus owning, it makes way more sense to own the property. You're going to have between $10,000 and $15,000 more in your net worth at the end of the year by owning the home. And this is why you hear so many realtors say, don't wait to buy real estate and wait. And that's because it's such a great long-term investment, and it's proven to be that way for over 60 years. If you look at the charts for home values for the past 60 years, you're going to see that it has continuously gone up. And that's just the nature of the real estate market and our inflation here. So you have to know that putting money in real estate in the long term is one of the best investments you can make. But putting money into real estate in the short term with a lot of speculation is not a good decision to make and can put you in a very difficult scenario if you do have to sell in that short time frame. And if you're considering waiting until rates drop to buy a house, we really have to talk about this real quick because I think that is not a good decision. And the reason is right now you have little competition out on the market to get into a home with great terms. So if you can stomach the payment, get the house now and refinance if the rates go down. That is the best overall scenario versus waiting for rates to go down and prices have gone up in that time. And not only that, if rates go down, there are so many buyers, so many people sitting on the sideline thinking the same thing as you. So when that happens, there's going to be a ton of competition. And when there's competition, you need cash to win. You overpay for properties. You pay way more than market price for properties just to get in them because you're fighting with everybody else. So I think if you can stomach the payment now, you go for it. Don't wait for interest rates to drop. I think that's a bad recipe for overpaying for a home and not being happy in the future. So let's just recap really quick about whether or not you should buy or rent. If you're looking to stay here for 3 years, absolutely not. I would say just rent a house. You're not going to make up for the rent versus owning difference in that amount of time. If you're looking to stay here for 3 to 5 years, it's a gray area. You have to get with your realtor. You have to talk to them about what you plan on doing to the home. Are you adding value to the home to force appreciation? Then maybe it's a good investment, but you have to talk to your trusted realtor first. And if you're looking to stay here for 5 years or more, I say buy the house. You're not going to regret it. You're going to make money on the home, especially with that long-term mindset in real estate. You're going to do very, very well. And if that's you, if you're considering moving to Maryland in 2024, please reach out to me. I would be happy to help you. Just talk over whether or not that is the right decision for you and where you should be moving to. That's what I specialize in, is you relocating to Maryland. That's why I make these videos and why I created this channel, was to be a resource for you. So if that's you, click the link in the description or in the caption and you can set up a one-on-one consultation with me to get you started with that plan. And as always, if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe so that you stay up to date on all of my videos about moving to Maryland.